Graham Temby is on the line with us here, and we're going to talk about his book, The Terror. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Now, what was it that inspired you to write this book, The Terror, especially the fact that it focuses on historical events for a younger audience?
Yeah, well, I've always loved history. I spent my career in primary teaching, and I always loved teaching history.
Mm,
When I retired, therefore, I decided to start and write some books. And because I'd been in upper primary all those years, I decided I would sort of couch it so that really extremely good readers could, in primary school, could read them.
yeah. And given your background in education, how do you believe that combining entertainment with historical accuracy benefits those young readers?
Well, I've often said the best way to teach history to children is to tell them stories.
Mm,
In the two books that I've written about this period, although they're fictional, obviously the characters are fictional and a lot of the events, I have stuck very closely to the real history, what really happened as far as we know,
mm.
so that the reader is both entertained and educated at the same time.
Absolutely. Now, the story is set in the Northeast where you grew up. So, how did your personal connection to the region influence the narrative and the atmosphere of the book?
I guess I like the idea of John and his family coming from the area where I grew up. I think it allowed for more drama in conflict. And after the Battle of Hastings, of course, and John's predicament, yeah, it really was difficult. In the
Yeah.
Terror, of course, it allows John to be around and about and involved in the harrying of the North and all the horrific fighting that went on across the country.
Absolutely. Now, you're also a volunteer archaeologist at Auckland Castle and Binchester Roman Fort. So, how did your experiences with these historical sites contribute to the authenticity of the novel?
Well, I think digging an archaeological trench is great fun. I would advise
Mm.
everyone to have a go at it sometime in their
Yeah.
lives. Every day you get up and you jump into your trench with your trowel and you have no idea what you're going to find. You don't know whether you'll find nothing.
Mm.
But generally speaking, you do. And it's quite amazing pulling out things like Roman spearheads and pottery and coins and beads and bones, etc. Usually animal bones, but not always. And I think to dig something like that out of the ground and you say to yourself, nobody's seen these for the thick end of 2,000 years. And here am I holding it in my hand. And that is really an incredible feeling.
Absolutely. Now, The Terror tells a gripping tale and aims to educate. So, how did you strike that balance between storytelling and historical accuracy to keep young readers engaged?
Yeah, well, what are you going to do with the historical accuracy, which is not always easy? You've
Mm,
got to do a lot of research into every aspect of the period, different websites telling you this, reading different books about it. Of course, we're never 100% sure of what really happened. For instance, we
no.
always say that Harold died with an arrow in his eye. Now, that might have happened, or it might just been that one of the embroiderers stitching the Bayeux tapestry decided to stitch it there. We don't know. But by getting information from various sources, you can more or less sort it out. And then
Mm,
you can start to plan your characters in. What did they look like? Interactions between them, personalities. How did they live? What did they do? And I've said before, as a primary school teacher, I know pretty much what that age of children like and what they can read. So you then couch it all the things around that.
absolutely. Now, why do you also believe it's crucial for young readers to explore and understand England's history as portrayed in The Terror? And how do you think this historical knowledge, contributes to their overall education and worldview?
Well, as people often say, you learn by your mistakes. When you study history,
Mm,
you learn by other people's mistakes. And I think all people, young and old, should have a good grasp of history so that they can identify what's truth and misinformation that comes our way so much these days in the world of the internet.
absolutely. And you've written a few other books, including a Dickensian-style ghost story. So can you tell us a bit about that and some of the other books that you've worked on as well?
I can, yes. The ghost story is called The Face at the Window, and it came about when I used to attend a writers' group in Bishop Auckland, and we used to get together every week, and each week one of us would come up with a topic to write about. So we'd spend perhaps half an hour writing our thoughts into an opening. After that, we'd read them out and discuss them, and it was great fun, and it lets you listen to other people and how they couch things. And I would advise any budding authors to find out if there's a group in their area and join it, because I think that's the way to start. The other book is actually a fantasy book, and that came about with the writers group too. One of our members brought in some ornaments from home and said, right, we're going to write about these tonight. And one of them was a tiny crystal model of the Mont Blanc.
Oh.
And a crystal mountain. So this story came into my head of this young aristocrat who gets together a load of his mates, and they travel through all these difficult places and dangerous situations to get to the crystal mountain to bring back some discs which are engraved with the people's future.
Ooh. Now,
Mm.
yes, indeed. Well, looking ahead, do you have any future projects in mind or themes that you'd like to explore in your upcoming works?
I'm not sure at the moment. I'm thinking about what else I might write about. I'm
Yeah.
currently writing a lot of educational resources that children, schools, parents can use to learn even more about the period. They will be hopefully going on my website when it actually comes out. And I think it's also going to be used by the education team at Auckland Castle, which I've
Ooh.
been roped into. I'm also going into schools to talk to upper junior pupils about becoming writers. I tell them about the stuff I've just been speaking about, and we
Yeah.
spend some time writing openings for new stories and things like that. So it's just a way of getting them going with a bit of writing, I think.
Excellent. Well, where are we able to find this book, The Terror?
Well, it is on Amazon. If you go into Amazon and look for it there, I dare say if you went into one, a reasonable bookshop, and with the ISBN, they could also order it for you. Or you can go on to Woodbridge Publishers in Leeds, and they will point you in the right direction.
Excellent. Well, many thanks for joining us today. It's been great to have you on the show.
No problem. Thanks very much.